Peace, peace. This your host, Selah, Shalom. And this is the Cosmon teachings in the words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors from the Cosmon Bible, Oahspe. And this is part 7 of Decoding the Bible with the Oahspe. And this series is called Decoding the Hebrew Israelites. In this vid, I'll be going into the idea and the concept of the Hebrew Israelites, dealing with the etymology of that word. Now, let's look into the word Hebrew. Now, the mention of the word Hebrew is found in Genesis chapter 14:13, where it states, "And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plains of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Anar, and these were confederate with Abraham." Now, Hebrew here is used as a title, being Abram the Hebrew. That's like saying Abram the electrician, or Abram the plumber, just as an example. Now, what does the word Hebrew mean? It means those who have crossed over, or those who have passed from place to place. So the word Hebrew doesn't describe a nationality, but describes an action or event, similar to nomad. The word nomad refers to wanderers, similar to Hebrew. So any group of people moving from place to place can be labeled Hebrew, just like nomad. Now, in the Assyrian and Babylonian and Egyptian texts, they make mention of the Hebrews as being plunderers, soldiers, looters, warriors, and they were considered a mixed multitude of people. The same as in Exodus, where it states that a mixed multitude left Egypt, referring to the Hebrews, or those who move from place to place. Again, Hebrew describes a mixed group of people. So these people can be of any ethnic race. Now, it is said Abraham was a Hebrew, meaning that he was part of those nomadic people. Some Hebrews use the word Hebrew as a reference to nationality, which is off. Now we're going to touch on the Hebrew language. As we decipher that the word Hebrew describes an event moving from place to place, how can that refer to a language? Now, when we look at the original Hebrew, it comes from the Phoenician. And you can find some of these glyphs in the Hebrew Phoenician alphabet in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, as seen here. So the Hebrew alphabet, so-called, is an amalgamated language, borrowing different glyphs from Egypt and Mesopotamia as well. Now let's go into the word Israel and Israelites. Now the word Israel comes from Jacob, the son of Isaac, and the grandson of Abraham. The word Israel means Y equals he. Sra is Sar in Hebrew, which equals prince, and El equals authority. So he who rules with authority, or prince of authority. That was the name given to Jacob, or the title. So the name Israel came about when Jacob wrestled with an angel, and the angel gave Jacob a new name, being Israel. Now, historically, there is no proof of this event. Historically, there is a reference to Jacob or Yaqub, who were Hekakasut or Hyksos rulers during the ending of the Middle Kingdom. But this doesn't describe the biblical Jacob or Yaqub as in your Bible. And historically, the name Israel was discovered on the Menptah stela, where it states that the land of Israel is laid waste. So the historical evidence of Jacob or Israel is scarce in history. Now, the Israelites make up the 12 sons of Jacob, or Israel. There has been rare evidence of the 12 tribes in history, as described in the Bible. The time period that the 12 tribes were dividing the land for themselves was during the time of the New Kingdom of Egypt, and there is no mention of the 12 tribes by name, but there is mention of the Hebrews plundering the land as described in the Amarna letters of Egypt and Babylon during the New Kingdom. The land of Canaan was under the control of the Egyptian pharaohs of the New Kingdom at that time. And again, there's no mention of 12 tribes during the New Kingdom of Egypt, where they would have had a record of nationalities of peoples at that time. And they do not mention any of the 12 tribes, but they do mention Hebrews, which is not a nationality, but just a nomadic people moving from place to place. And again, the Hebrews are mentioned in the Assyrian text, but no mention of the 12 tribes. Now, the closest proof of at least one of the tribes of Israel can be verified on the black obelisk of Assyria, where it shows the tribe of Judah going into captivity. And it shows the king, Jehu, a Judean king, bowing to the feet of the Assyrians. So this is proof of at least the tribe of Judah. Now, according to Oahspe, Israel represented oral tradition. Israel equals oral, as stated in the book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 10 and 11, where it states, verse 10, as for the Oralites, so called because their doctrines and teachings were sacred and only spoken, being taught man to man and woman to woman, orally. They were non-resistant, and they owed nothing, giving all things to the rabbis for the public good. Their practice was love and harmony, doing righteousness in all things, trusting to Jehovah, whom they worship under the name Eoah. All the prophets and seers were born of the Oralites. Verse 11. And so great was the spiritual power of the Oralites that during all these hundreds of years, the faithists, 6 million, had lived without kings or governors, being a multitude of communities. So here is the description of Israelites in Oahspe. They're referred to Oralites, followers of oral tradition. Now this would make more sense than Jacob wrestling with an angel and changing his name to Israel, where we have no verification of this in history, but we do have verification of oral traditions in history. And here's a description of the so-called Israelites being followers of oral tradition and labeled Oralites. And with that, I'd like to say peace and blessings and catch you on the next documentary called Decoding Moses and the Torah. Shalom.